I think I would say roughly between a third and a half. I would actually go for a pan-European residential strategy, trying to go for buy and hold and possibly unit sale developments in Germany. Possibly if you can get hold on stock in France, that might be interesting. But the only thing is, where do you get a reasonably priced French residential? So if you have something, we will happy to talk about it. So then looking at the Nordics, possibly UK PRS, so that will be part of the story. The rest, I would target, let's say, office and retail. Retail mainly might be high street and the things like the supermarket stuff. We've done a lot in Germany in the last years, because these are the two segments we think, also given the background we have, that make the most sense of. But you would have to look at an opportunity-driven approach, not opportunistic, but opportunity-driven, because you have to see where can you find reasonable priced assets. Where do you think you are able to develop on that? So I wouldn't recommend countries on the thing. I will still look at Ireland. I've talked about Ireland for the last 2 years, and I still like the country, but I think it's now near fully priced, so it's a little harder today than it has been 2 years ago. Possibly northern Italy might be part of something to look at, if you're willing to talk to to take a little bit of a higher risk.
Would probably put quite probably a fourth of the money into value add deals in France. I think there's really a future there. I would put probably half of the money, or like a third of the money, in Germany, in core plus situations with mixed long lease and shorter leases, depending on location, and with good finance behind, so it gives you a nice cash flow. And I would check into the UK still, probably London, to see whether we can still find some interesting deals, but also maybe going a bit outside of London and check for long leases with top location, nice buildings.
I think it would be reasonable to find somebody to team up in the hotel business, because the big chains who have overdone by developing themselves, they're a little bit debt constrained, would like to get out of the debt. So it might be that there are some chances to pick up one or the other asset which is nicely placed somewhere in the city, doing that for the next generation, not for me, but for the next generation. And then also to think about student homes. I think even if student homes have dropped a little bit in France, I think all over the place, the number of students are growing, at least in countries where the demographics are right. And in so far, I think I would certainly like also to look into that. If you do that in a way that you say, I take an old office building out of the 60s, redo something in the shape of the office space is already right for a small, room for a student, whatever. I think there's some music in this site. And nobody's spoken about Portugal. I think Portugal simply, I like the country. I think there are still a few deals which you can do in Lisbon or around Lisbon. Last not least, talk to somebody who's a professional in logistics, because that becomes certainly one of the most important things I see still, that you have also an exposure to logistics. So that was a four asset class that I would go for.
No, I think I would look at office development in Ireland, in Dublin. It's still a very limited pipeline. I don't think, due to the pipeline, the market still works in Dublin. It's very limited. It's a small market, but it's also limited supply, and remains the tech entry point via the US. So I think that growth industry will run via Dublin, just because it's cornered a lot of the big brains in Europe. I would then say about 100 million there. I would then probably put maybe 200 million into high street retail in Germany, in the university cities like Freiburg, Heidelberg, Münster, B locations. They're there to stay, so that's my downside hedge to the riskier Irish development. I would then probably also go for logistics, but I would partner with a logistics player, give him 100 million and hook up with some of the internet companies and do JVs with them, and to find their locations and then their leases for them to supply, i.e. the Amazons and the Encos of the world, or the DHLs of this world, and hook that up. So that would be 300. And then I would actually look at one or two Polish, probably Breslau or Wrocław and Krakow, and do something there. And maybe throw about 50 million at Portugal as well, just because they're so nice. Yeah. It's kind of like Ireland. Yeah.